Welcome to 18 WJTS Inform. I'm your host, Bill Potter. What is the 4-H experience? This is the time to be thinking of 4-H, or the whole month of July is the time to be thinking of 4-H. And joining us in the studio is Lisa Wilson. Lisa is the Youth Development Educator with Purdue Extension in Dubois County. And Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, we've talked to you before about some other things, but we're going to talk to you now about the 4-H experience. What do you think the 4-H experience is?
You know, I think about the 4-H experience and the experience I had when I was a youth in 4-H and how it's going to look very similar, but yet in many ways very different for my kids as they're growing up, as I see different new and unique opportunities being added onto that same experience that I had. It's really growing and evolving with today's youth and our families and our family needs and our youth's needs in our community. So while we still have that traditional 4-H program where you come into your monthly club meetings and you do your project and you take them to the fair, even though this year the fair looks very different, but we still have that very traditional experience, but there's so much more to the program than what there was even 5 or 10 years ago.
You probably can't really define it as being one different thing because
No.
it's meeting new people, it's trying a new skill, it's maybe seeing something you didn't see before.
Yeah.
That's what the 4-H experience is?
Yeah, I just really think about when I was in 4-H, you know, you kind of got your information from going to your club meeting or from your club leader, and whatever your club leader kind of knew, whatever projects they knew about, those tended to be the projects you probably went with because you were able to learn some skill there, unless if you learned it on your own or you learned it from a parent or something like that. But now the 4-H program really provides a lot of opportunities for you to learn those skills in workshops, in the Spark clubs that we've talked about here before, and some of those things. So, and even just opportunities to get out and meet people through the Spark clubs or through camps or, you know, experiences outside of our county. Those are the things that are really, really growing in today's 4-H program.
Really, the 4-H fair is not all the 4-H.
Right.
That's just like a small window
Yeah.
into what 4-H can be.
Yeah, the 4-H fair is really just a celebration at the very end of our long 4-H year. Our 4-H year used to be, you know, like from February to July, but now we start our 4-H year October 1st, and we are going all year long. So our youth are really doing having a lot of 4-H experiences before years ago the 4-H program would have even started for the year. So just really thinking about all of those opportunities that our youth have. You know, we have experiences now during fall break camp, or during fall break and during spring break for our youth in the community come join in and experience 4-H. That's not their normal club meeting. It's a county experience.
Now, you also do things called the Spark Clubs, which is a new way to get different people involved short term, because we're pretty busy anymore, and some people say, I really don't have that much time to commit to a whole summer of 4-H
Exactly.
or a whole year of 4-H,
Yeah.
but I'd like to do something short term.
Exactly. So we have 4-H youth that may not participate in what the traditional 4-H path is at all. You know, we have some kids that obviously jump in and they take it all in and they do the entire experience, but we have some 4-H youth that might sign up and just go to a Spark Club. For example, this year we did a baking Spark Club where we taught them how to bake 3 or 4 different things, and they got that hands-on experience and they went home with their baked goods. That was some kids' 4-H experience. That's what they did for that year, and that's a way that you can be involved in 4-H. If, you know, we did that back in early February. It was cold outside, not a lot to do outside, so, and it was a one-day experience. We have some 4-H youth that just go to 4-H camp. They want that camping experience. 4-H camp is a very affordable overnight camp to go to because our 4-H council does help with some of that. And it's supported by our community. So it's a really great way for our youth to get that overnight camping experience with youth from different counties. And it doesn't cost a whole lot of money. And some kids, that is their entire 4-H experience. They're not really involved with a club. They don't do projects, and that's fine. That's just one of those ways that today's 4-H experience is morphing and changing to meet the needs of our families today.
Well, and for some kids, that may be their only time away from home. for an extended period. That's a huge learning experience.
Yes, yeah. We have kids that come to camp every year and have never even stayed the night at Grandma and Grandpa's, have never been away from home overnight. And most of the time, the people that are most nervous are the parents. But if we work through that with our campers, and usually by the end of the week it's only about 3 days, but usually by the end of that time they are not wanting to go home. They've had such a great time, and they've learned so many skills, from getting themselves up and getting ready in the morning and being responsible for themselves. And it's just really great to see them learn and grow.
Now, there are some kids that really want to do the 4-H experience in the full immersion. They want to do as many projects as possible. They want to be involved in everything that goes on. And that's great, because this offers them that depth, however deep they want to go.
Yeah. We really strive, especially in Dubois County 4-H, to make sure that, so to be a part of Dubois County 4-H, it costs $15 for the year, okay? And I know as a parent, there is not much that I sign my kids up for that costs $15 for a year, right? So we really strive that $15 kind of is a pass for everything, okay? Even now, 4-H camp is an additional fee because it is an overnight camp, and that is more expensive. But even with our Spark clubs and things like that, we try to get sponsorships. We try to, have 4-H Council sponsor those things so that we don't have to charge for those additional experiences. A lot of times when our clubs do events, they fundraise or do whatever they need to so that it doesn't cost their youth anything extra to do those fun things that they do. So really, it is a very affordable option for you. And granted, some of those projects that we have are expensive to do, right? If you're going to take livestock, or you're going to do some kind of big woodworking project or something like that, of course, that's going to cost you some money, but you also get a great experience from that, right?
And really with 4-H too, the experience maybe is something as simple as being at a meeting and seeing the order of the way a meeting needs to be run. That's
right.
I've heard that that's what I've learned from 4-H is Robert's Rules of Order.
Yes.
And that small thing can be monumental in an adult life.
It can be, and I cannot tell you how many times, and I think I've been in probably some meetings with you, Bill, where we're sitting there thinking like, are we following the agenda? Yeah. How are we doing this? And as an adult, whenever you are joining different groups, and even if you're not, you're sitting there in a group of people, being able to follow those Robert's Rules of Order, learning how to move the conversation along in a productive manner. Those are all things that you learn in a 4-H club meeting. How do you elect your president and vice president? What's the best way to do that? How does Robert's Rules of Order work, and how does it work in this situation? And that's just that in it of itself is some great experience. And I think my kids maybe have a hard time making friends at school, but the 4-H club meeting is a different place with new and different people where they have another opportunity to do that. So that's another great thing about it.
And much of what we're talking about is 4-H and relationships that you're going to develop with people. We haven't talked that much about projects because that's a small part of what 4-H is.
It is.
Not where I think we think of it the other way. We think the project is the big part,
yeah,
and the 4-H is a small part. It's really the other way around.
Yeah. Some of our most active youth, only bring 1 or 2 projects to the fair, but are hugely active in their clubs, are hugely active in our volunteer opportunities like community service and things like that we do. And I don't want to downplay, the projects, because there's a lot to be learned from seeing something through from start to finish. And I think we saw that this year in our virtual fair. Our youth maybe did not have all the same opportunities that they had to get their projects done and that sort of thing, but we still had over 1,000 entries in our virtual fair, which just shows the determination of our 4-H youth to continue on and find new and unique ways to get things completed, even if they couldn't get the supplies they normally have or attend the class that they normally can. So I think, the responsibility and the creativity that came out of our youth this year was something that we wouldn't have gotten to see if we were in person. So that is one positive that's come from this.
Everything's positive with 4-H.
That's right.
All right. Well, and if someone would like to get involved in 4-H, a child would like to do that,
yeah,
what's the age limit? When can they join, or when should they join? Because they can join pretty well anytime, right? But when would you like to have them join by? And how do they go about it?
So our enrollment period is from October the 1st through January 15th, and we would like people to be enrolled during that time. Now, if you hit May and you're like, oh my gosh, I'd really like my child to be involved in this 4-H program, or I heard there's 4-H camp and I'd like them to be a part of that, we still take enrollments, so up past that time, but we really you start missing out on a lot of opportunities if you're not signed up by January the 15th. So our age limit is from kindergarten through 12th grade. Kindergarten, first, and second grade are our mini 4-Hers, so it's more of a little bit of a limited or a unique experience for those kiddos that are that younger age. And then 3rd through 12th grade is our regular 4-H age, where you start into your 10 years of the 4-H experience.
Okay, and they should contact your local
contact your
office.
local extension office. So in Dubois County, that is our office number is 812-482-1782. You can also email me. My email is lisawilson1@purdue.edu, and ask any questions you have. I love hearing from our community.
Perfect. Lisa, thank you very much for being our guest.
Thank you.
Our guest has been Lisa Wilson, the Youth Development Educator with Purdue Extension in Dubois County. Thank you for watching WJTS. Normally, this would be 4-H time in Indiana, but because of certain situations, 4-H has changed. It's another part of the 4-H experience. Thank you for watching. WJTS, local people watching local people.